You'd been at a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a long kind of weekend
Yeah,
of
it was
partying.
a long weekend in France, yeah.
Partying and drinking.
Yeah,
So when did you first start to feel unwell, and what did you think it was?
It was sort of on the Monday after I got back from the weekend. I'd gone into work and I thought, God, I'm really not, like, feeling great. I must still be sort of struggling from the weekend. But it just got worse and worse, but I still just kept thinking, it's been a mad weekend, And when
you say
exhausted.
worse and worse, nausea, were you sweating?
It was sweating and sort of just feeling really sick. I didn't actually start throwing up until much later, but it was just like nauseous, and it was just...
But like you said, you think, oh, it's just a bit of a heavy weekend.
Yeah.
You know, the older one gets, the harder it is to get over it. But eventually you went home.
Yeah.
And how much worse did it get and how quickly?
It was quite quick. So I sort of went home. I managed on the Monday at work. And then on the Tuesday, I think I got to about lunchtime. And then I was like, I'm going to have to go home. So I went home, and as soon as I got home, I got into bed, and that was it. From that moment, I couldn't lift my head up. I couldn't... I felt like I couldn't do anything.
Were you frightened at that point?
No, I still thought it was just... At this point, I thought maybe it's flu. It can't still be a hangover. But I just kept thinking, it's just flu, it's just exhaustion.
So how did you find it wasn't?
It's difficult to explain, but it got to this point sort of on Tuesday night around 4 o'clock in the morning where I just had this overwhelming feeling that I was dying. And I can't explain it because I don't know what it feels like.
You just felt so ill.
It just felt like I was dying.
You had a sense of foreboding, almost a depression about this?
Yeah. And it was just... It just didn't... I just knew something wasn't right.
So did you ring the ambulance or somebody else?
I rang 111 to start with, and they said they were going to get a doctor out to me by 11:30 the following morning, but if I couldn't wait that long, to ring 999, and by 7 a.m. that was when I rang them, because I just...
So, Dad, you were oblivious to all of this?
Yes, at this point I was. Yes, it was after she was in hospital. She told me that she'd gone to hospital and I think she just said you'd the flu, and just by text because she wasn't speaking. And I just thought she'd caught a bug and then she'd get the flu and she'd be okay. I mean, she has got a lot of friends and family in the North East, her mother and the sister. So I was texting them and asking them what they thought, and I thought, no, she'd be okay. And it was, I think it was a couple of days later when she told me she'd sepsis. And of course, when you hear a word like that, I'm not sure I've heard it before, so immediately you Google it, and it's horrific.
And it's basically, what, blood poisoning? Is that what we're talking about? Why would you have had blood poisoning?
The reason I had it, I mean, there's many different reasons you can get it, but I had, the week before I became ill, I had a water infection, which I did have antibiotics for, but it obviously hadn't cleared it up, and I just hadn't realised that it hadn't cleared it up, and the infection just spread from there.
So you were lucky that you did call that ambulance and get to hospital when you did?
I guess so, yeah.
What would have happened, Rand, if she hadn't have got to hospital?
Gosh, so, Abi, you were at the more severe end of sepsis, and you may not know this, but your mortality is actually 40 to 60%. So, actually, you're very lucky to be with us and be so well, which is great.
Meaning what? She had a 40% of dying?
40 to 60% chance of dying with severe sepsis and septic shock.
So it's blood poisoning?
Yeah, so it used to be called blood poisoning, it used to be called septicemia. Sepsis is the potential result of any infection. There are certain infections that are more likely to progress to it. For example, the one that causes meningitis, or Group B strep in babies, or urine infections in the elderly can progress quite quickly. It is where the immune system goes into overdrive and your body starts to attack itself. And you can, if it progresses, you can go into organ failure, and sadly you can pass away from it.